Hi there. In this video, we'll be covering how does a writer get published. Getting published is such an awesome feeling, and following the steps in this video can help make the process a lot easier. By the end of this video, you will learn some of the best ways to get published as an author, and the importance of studying people you look up to. And stay tuned until the end of the video for a free opportunity. Let's dive in. It is such a special feeling to see your work published, whether it's an article in a media outlet, whether it's a journal article, whether it's a book. It's so special to see your work come alive and to see it in print form. It's just an awesome feeling. There's so many different journals, scientific journals, medical journals, literary journals, so many different types of journals that allow for submissions. And it's a special process to be able to apply to those things. There's usually tips and guidelines associated with the application, a lot of hoops to jump through. So you need to be able to follow the rules. So many people, when they try to get published in a journal or a media outlet or something else, they don't actually follow the right guidelines. And even if they have a great message to share, they fall short. So it's important to be able to follow the guidelines. Whatever path you choose for publishing, it's great to be able to carry it forward. There's a credibility level that comes with publishing. A dear friend of mine, Margaret, we talk often about being a published author and being able to carry it forward with that feather in your cap. What does it mean to be a published author? I think if you are an author who has had their work published, whether it's a journal, a media outlet, a book, or something else, you are an author. So don't let anybody tell you otherwise. If you are a writer, you're an author. If you get your work published, that's awesome. One of the most compelling ways to get published is through op-eds with different media outlets. And it's great to be able to tap into larger conversations that are happening. If there's a news element that's happening, how is your expertise related to that? How does your expertise attach to that? I remember a couple years ago, I'd published a book about a baseball player, Ken Caminiti, and I had some op-eds published by NBC News on NBC News' website, and they were about baseball players and steroid use and the Hall of Fame and all these sorts of topics. It was special for me to be able to shoehorn my expertise with that book to other topics that were happening. And I think that's an important step for a lot of writers and authors, is understanding how your message applies. What are the things that you can teach us about current events or other issues that are happening using the expertise that you have from a book or from a speech or from an experience, and being able to apply it. Being able to take that next step and sharing your message is such an important thing. And it's great to be able to see your effort not just end with whatever you had already worked on, whether it's a book or something else, to be able to springboard it and to use it in a different context. So think about how your experiences or accomplishments can relate to other things that are happening and being able to share your message outward. The creme de la creme, the top way of getting published, is by writing a book. Writing a book comes with automatic credibility. It's hard to write a book. It is very hard to write a book, and because of that challenge and because of the authority that comes with book writing, you are seen, if you write a book, as an author, as an expert on a topic. It's such a powerful thing to be able to hand somebody a book that you worked on. You poured your blood, sweat, and tears into a book, and here it is, and you can give it to somebody, and they can read it and learn from it and apply it to their own life. It's an awesome feeling. It's a special feeling, but it requires a big commitment. It requires you to stick with it. It's so easy to start writing a book. You might even have a great book topic, and life gets in the way, and challenges emerge, and automatically you just kind of put it aside, and a week goes by, and 2 weeks, and a month. Next thing you know, it's been years, and you haven't made any progress. That's a common thing. Writing a book requires determination and commitment. You have to stick with it, and you have to make it a priority. You have to make the book a priority. If you don't make it a priority, it's liable to fall by the wayside and you never get it done. But there's so many rewards that can come from writing a book, so many rewards that can follow becoming that published author. You have credibility, so when a media outlet, for example, is looking for an interview subject on a certain topic, if somebody's looking for a speaker for their speaking engagement, if a media outlet is looking for a source for a story, or if a speaker bureau is looking for a speaker for a specific topic, and they find your book, they're liable to reach out to you. So there's so many opportunities that can come from publishing a book, but you need to be able to get it done first. With any of these options, journal articles, media outlets, books, or something else, it requires you to tap into your unique message, your experience and your skills and your background and your expertise, and applying that outward, understanding how your message can be helpful for other people, understanding how your message can impact the world. You need to be able to understand what your message is and tell it in the most succinct and clearest way possible. That's really how you're going to break through. Your message needs to be clear for the reader, and it needs to have a benefit. And if it does have that benefit, if they can learn something from it, it's a powerful thing. One of the best tips that I can share for you, and it's something that I've thought about a lot as I've worked as a journalist and as a book writer and ghostwriter, is doing your research. Doing research into people who are in the place that you want to be. Maybe 5 years from now, maybe 10 years from now, maybe 2 years from now. Understand what they did to get to where they are. What steps did they take? Who did they connect with? You know, what was the springboard that took them from this level to this level? If you can follow those steps, it's going to help you along your way. That's not to say that you're going to get exactly here, but you might be able to learn some insights and lessons into the steps that you can take. Maybe you can make some inroads. Maybe you can make some connections to get connected with them. Maybe you can follow them on LinkedIn and start a conversation. Whatever the case may be, it's important to surround yourself with people who are in the place that you want to be, you know, in the space that you want to fill. You know, I recently saw something really powerful on social media, and it was by the musician 50 Cent. He was talking about the bottle of water and where it's sold and how much it's sold for in different places, you know, and you get it for free from the tap, all the way up to a movie theater bottle of water is $7, or an airplane bottle of water is this much money, you know, and it's really the value that you bring is related to the room that you're in. So you need to put yourself in the right room to be the most valuable self. And it was such a powerful message. And I think about that with being a published author. You know, this really is about putting yourself in that room and putting yourself in the right room and being the most successful that you can be. And being a published author is a huge part of that process. So if you're looking at taking the next step as a leader, as a thought leader, as a business leader, as somebody who has something important to say, look to being a published author, taking the steps to get published and finding a way to get your message out there. If you want to learn more about how does a writer get published, you definitely want to watch the next episode. I'll link to it on the screen. It's called How to Write a Book and Get It Published. In that video, I cover finding purpose in the book topic that you choose, fighting through the challenges of book writing, and even the paths to publication. Remember, a good book can change your life. I'm Dan Good. Thanks for watching.